Welcome to my channel. My name's John Higgins, and what a privilege it is to be sharing this opening recital with you today. As many of you would know, it's been quite a journey as I've been putting together this virtual pipe organ console. And I'd like to say thank you so much to all my subscribers and followers who have been so encouraging and supporting along this journey, and have been patient while I've been preparing this opening recital. And it's so many firsts have occurred during this project. Obstacles have had to be overcome, technical challenges solved, and a great learning experience. And finally the moment has arrived, and it's quite, again, unusual and a first to be playing a recital from home without anyone in the room. That's quite a unique scenario and a learning experience as well. And I'm just so grateful to all the people out there around the world who are watching this video on the live stream or the recording afterwards. I really hope you enjoy this recital. It's such a privilege to have this opportunity to play for you. I've got a wonderful program, and what an opening it was, the Prince of Denmark's March. It's an iconic and timeless tune by Clarke, and I hope you enjoyed the wonderful sound of the Hauptwerk trumpet. It's a Swedish instrument, the organ at Piteå in the Sweden School of Music on Grandorgue. And again, this is just a stepping stone in my journey, as I'd like to save up for a new PC to run this setup, and have Hauptwerk version 6 would be wonderful. But this organ is quite delightful, and I really think you'll enjoy the array of colours on show in the recital. So without any further ado, let's change the mood completely now to the Swan from the Carnival of the Animals by Saint-Saens. A beautiful, quiet and peaceful melody, and brings many memories and images to your mind of a beautiful river and the swans paddling along. And of course this is much the same for the organist, that whilst it appears to be very smooth moving on the surface and calm and tranquil, sometimes underneath there's a lot of frantic paddling going on. But I do hope you'll find this very peaceful and relaxing. The Carnival of the Animals, the Swan, beautiful tune. Next, a complete change of mood to the grand and grave opening of the Prelude and Fugue in G major, formerly attributed to J.S. Bach, possibly by Krebs. This is from the Short 8 Prelude and Fugues collection, and is a wonderfully diverse and moving piece. Such a grand and grave opening to the Prelude, followed by some much more lively parallel thirds and descending arpeggios. Of course, a pedal solo in there for good measure, and then moving into a delightful fugue, such a simple theme of 1 step forward and 2 steps backward. And I always find this piece speaks to me about the journey of life, that sometimes it feels like 1 step forward and 2 steps backward, but if you listen very carefully to this piece, I think the composer, the organist and the audience all come out on top in the end. So I hope you'll enjoy this wonderful piece, and it's an opportunity to show the hapt work principal chorus, and this organ has some beautiful, clear and colourful mixture stops, which I think you'll enjoy. So Prelude and Fugue in G major. My next piece is a wonderful suite of pieces, the 7 pieces in G major and minor by Franck. And this collection has been an incredible music experience for me. I think the writing of Franck is just simply incredible, and the differing moods and tone and feelings that he encapsulates in these 7 pieces is remarkable, and I found very touching. Each piece is quite beautiful on its own, but when added together in the whole collection, takes the listener on a journey that is, I've found it's been one of the most enjoyable pieces I've ever learnt. And to think that it's for manuals only and is really on paper it's fairly simple, and yet to play it well I've found incredibly challenging. His harmony and trying to convey the feeling and the mood in this piece is an enormous challenge, and really a tremendous privilege to play such incredible music. So please bear with me throughout this piece, as it's quite a long piece, about 15 minutes, which is the longest piece I've ever played if you consider it to be one collection. So there's quite a few page turns and a couple of registration changes as well, which I'll try to make as swiftly as possible to ensure the continuity of the piece. And of course at this point I should mention that this is another first for me, is using a stepper or sequencer. So on a 3 manual organ such as this with quite a few stops, obviously if it was a physical organ it would be quite a challenge changing stops quickly, but the stepper system or sequencer is where the organ is controlled by a computer, and by the simple press of the plus button it enables the registrations to be advanced across the whole organ with the push of one button. Traditionally you'll see stepper pistons, general pistons and divisional pistons, and a stepper piston as well at the front of the keyboard, but I don't have that switch at the moment. So you'll notice me occasionally pressing the very top key on this manual, which I've programmed this MIDI key to correspond to the stepper. So when I press this top note, it actually doesn't sound the note, it's programmed to change all of those stops at once, which enables me to achieve diverse registration changes very quickly. So 7 pieces in G major and G minor by Franck. fabulous piece, and what an incredible journey the composer takes the listener along. I do hope you enjoyed that. As you can see, there's a few little challenges there with the stepper system, but we got there in the end. And what a wonderful array of colours this organ has to offer. Not exactly a French sounding organ, but the reeds at the end there add a nice edge. It doesn't have a 16-foot reed, so it relies on a sub-octave coupler, but still gives quite a punch at the end. So next we move on to a very significant piece, or improvisation. So I'd like to improvise for a few moments on my own theme, and this is a subject very close to my heart, because I'm going to improvise on a theme painting my journey and challenges over the last few months. As many of you know, I had quite a serious back injury, which I've been trying to manage and recover from, which has had a significant impact in all aspects of life, including being able to practice. And so I'm just incredibly grateful to have this opportunity to play today. And as my dear friend and organ teacher, Dr. Vidas Pinkausis, says, practice is a privilege. And just we take for granted being able to sit down at the organ, being able to physically sit there and play. And it is quite demanding on the back and the legs and the hands to play well. This is not quite as demanding, being an electronic keyboard, compared to the tracker action organ at St. Andrews, which you would have seen on my channel, but nonetheless still a taxing exercise. And I'd like to dedicate this improvisation to two wonderful people, Dr. Vidas Pinkausis, my organ teacher, who is just remarkable at improvising, and I'm sure that he could take this theme and make more of it, and I look forward to him accepting that challenge. And he's the one who's really nurtured and encouraged me into improvising. It's quite terrifying in many respects, the art of composing music on the spot. And when I was reflecting on my journey along improvisation, I was reminded, some of you may have seen the old movie My Fair Lady, where Eliza Doolittle has been brought off the streets to be educated by Professor Higgins. And I've had many a joke directed my way on Professor Higgins, even more so when I married Eliza, my dear wife. So Eliza Doolittle and Professor Higgins, it's really stuck. And one of the lines in that movie was, you'll see Professor Higgins is teaching Eliza how to speak in fancy, prim and proper English. And he takes her out to the races as the first challenge to see how she's going with her development. And as she's speaking to various high-profile people at the races, she comes out with this phrase, "The rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain." And the point is that she pronounced it very nicely, but it didn't really make any sense, even in small talk terms. And I think that is reflective of my improvisation, that it has some value in and of itself, but does it make any sense? That's the question. And so the second person I'd like to dedicate this to is another dear friend, Graham Twist, who is one of my favourite modern composers who is just producing some outstanding work that is spreading around the globe via YouTube. And I highly recommend you check out his channel and his compositions. He's a very kind and generous man and gifted in composition. And so I hope too that he might accept the challenge of putting something more intellectual and sensible together on this theme. But I hope it paints the picture of the struggles that we go through. And you'll hear towards the end of the improvisation, I'm going to hopefully modulate into a well-known hymn tune, and Saint-Saens, which goes to the words, "O God, our help in ages past." And that is how I feel about my journey and my life, that sometimes great challenges come upon us that are very difficult and painful. But this hymn is so appropriate, that God is our help in ages past and our hope for years to come. So I do hope you'll enjoy this improvisation on my journey through the last 3 months. Hope you enjoy it. So there you have it, my musings on a theme. Perhaps taking a leaf out of Graham Twist's book, we should call it The Rain in Spain in Spanish. And so that brings us to our last piece for this recital. And before I play it, I'd like to thank a number of people. I'd like to thank so many people who have helped me with advice, so generous and free of charge. Dr. Vidas Pinkausius, James Flores, Graham Twist, and also one of my friends, John Largaway, who you may have seen on my YouTube channel before. Also like to thank Paul Fye, who's also helped me out, and many of these people are from all across the world that have given me advice and suggestions on how to set up this virtual pipe organ. I'd like to say a massive thanks to my family, who have supported me through the last few months. It's been a challenging time, and in particular my wife Eliza, who has been incredibly supportive and helped enormously through this process, and has had to pick up a lot of extra duties in family life. So grateful for that, and grateful that to have her support in this hobby and being able to share this music with you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate everyone's support. Over 130 subscribers now and over 14,000 views, so thank you so much for all of your support, for the kind words of encouragement through email, messages on YouTube, and watching and commenting on my videos. And so we've reached the end, but there is one more piece, the wonderful Prelude in Classic Style by Gordon Young. And this is a very light-hearted piece of music. It will really have your foot tapping, and I think is a great way to end the recital on a high. And it's quite a simple piece, but very effective, and plenty of challenges for the organist with some faster notes, parallel thirds, and arpeggiated chords, and some modulations into some interesting keys. So hope you enjoy it. It's a wonderful piece, and once again thank you for the privilege of being able to play for you today, and thank you so much to everyone who supported me on my journey. So enjoy the last piece, and look forward to seeing you again very soon. Oh, and of course I should say a massive thank you to everyone who's watching and commenting on the live stream, and to people who watch the video afterwards as a recording. So take care everyone, and see you very soon. Thank you so much.